Hello all, welcome to Gargi classes. Here I Komal Sharma making our way ahead towards the drama about which I explained to you all the day before. King Lear, the tragedy by William Shakespeare, the greatest dramatist of Elizabethan era. So today I am taking you all off into the next act of the drama. Yesterday, as I elaborated all about the characters who are playing into this drama and two initial acts of the drama. Now, I am proceeding towards the act third of the drama. Before that, as we came till now about Goneril's and Regan's immorality, as they both repudiated King Lear, their own father, who gave them his every bit of power. Now, the fool, the personal jester of King Lear, along with King Lear, wandering into the thunderstorm, and they both also discarded from Gloucester's house by his own daughters, by Lear's own daughters, because they both are in power now. On the other side, Edgar, the legitimate son of Gloucester, also disguises as a wandering beggar. So now Edmund, the bastard son of Gloucester, succeeded in making both the son and the father, Edgar and Gloucester, stand against each other. Next, now here I am leading towards act third of scene first. Now, the scene first of act third is all about Kent searches for Lear in the storm and comes across one of the knights of Lear. He tells the knight to make arrangement with Cordelia to provide help in defending Lear. So here in this scene, Kent, who was in capture of Regan and Cornwall earlier because of attacking Oswald, who was the personal steward of Goneril's house. So from that capture, Kent now released himself and he starts searching King Lear in disguise. He meets one of the knights of Lear and asks him to send a message to Cordelia, the youngest daughter of King Lear, to provide a helping hand to defend Lear, as Cordelia is in France now after marrying to the King of France. So later on, now, in the scene second of act third, what happens is Kent finally finds Lear along with this fool who was wandering in the storm. He convinces Lear to go to a nearby hall to seek shelter. So, in this scene, now the three, Kent in disguise, King Lear, and the fool, the three find a shelter nearby a hall. Hall is a constructed dwelling where one can stay for a while. So here the three are together. Next on in the scene third of act third is, now in the scene third what happens is Gloucester reveals to Edmund that he is appalled by the way that Regan, Goneril and Cornwall treated Lear, and that he is secretly in communication with the French. Edmund delights in the fact that he can now reveal Gloucester's plan to Cornwall and hopefully inherit Gloucester's fortune after Gloucester is put to death. So here Gloucester, who is loyal towards King Lear and who is in the position of Earl, reveals to Edmund, as he sees Edmund as his good son. So he reveals everything that now he came to know about Regan, Goneril and Cornwall's, the way they treated with King Lear. So now what he is going to do is he is getting a communication with the French, with Cordelia of course, and Edmund delights to know this fact that now I can reveal all the plans, the secrets of Gloucester to Cornwall, and Cornwall will get to happy with me. He'll glad to know that I am with them, and Cornwall puts Gloucester to death, and then I will be the owner of all the possessions of Gloucester. So here Edmund is a very treacherous son who is doing his best efforts to just finish up everything of Gloucester, his own father. Later on, as we are moving ahead towards scene 4th of Act 3rd, now in the scene 4th, Lear and the other encounter the disguised Edgar, who strikes up a relationship with Lear immediately. Gloucester arrives and convinces everyone to go back to the castle despite the risk. So here King Lear can't, who is in a disguise yet, and fool the jester, and Edgar, who is also in disguise, and he gets into a relationship with Lear. Still he doesn't reveal his identity in front of three these. Later on, Gloucester comes there, and he tries to convince everyone, whoever are there, the Lear, Cant, Fool, and Edgar. He tries his best to convince all of them to go back to the castle despite the risk. He wants all of them to go back to the castle, Gloucester's house. So later on in the scene 5th, Act 3rd, here we are leading. So here in scene 5th, Edmund's plan to manipulate Cornwall goes perfectly, with Cornwall conferring the title of Earl of Gloucester on Edmund, and Cornwall sends Edmund to find Gloucester, and Edmund reasons that if he can catch his father in the act of helping Lear, Cornwall's suspicion will be confirmed. So here the Edmund's treachery is running with the pace. Here Edmund convinces or manipulates Cornwall against Gloucester, and he convinces him to get the title Earl, and for this Cornwall sends Edmund to find Gloucester wherever he is, and Edmund reasons that if he is able to catch out his father in the act of helping Lear with the red-handed, so Cornwall's suspicion will be confirmed and the Earl title will be finally to Edmund. So this is all about Edmund's treachery here against his own father and his own brother. Later on in scene 6th of Act 3rd. Now in the scene 6th of the Act 3rd, Gloucester, who is also in flee because of his own son, as he finds that finally Cornwall is looking for his murder to put him to death. So Gloucester, Cant, who is in disguise, and Lear and the Fool take shelter. Lear descends further into madness. He comes into the state of madness here. He goes completely mad because he is not in state to accept the way his daughters behaves with him, as he earlier thought that the Goneril and the Regan are the only daughters who love him so much. So here he is not in state to accept the reality. So later on, Gloucester says that he has heard of a plan to kill Lear. So the group heads for Dour. So from Hall, as they all were hide earlier. Now they are moving towards Tower now, because there they get the suspicion of killing Lear there. Later on, as I have mentioned here about a question which came into 2017 to discuss the theme of redemption and madness in King Lear. So here the theme of redemption is here the way Goneril, Regan, Cornwall, the three behaves, and the Edmund too, and the state of madness about King Lear, and Gloucester's is also moving towards the same state, as he is going to face the same situation after coming to know that his own son, to whom he consider his bestest, so he is also going to cheat him. So here the theme of redemption and madness you can come to know about King Lear and the Gloucester's condition. So you can answer with that. Now in the scene 7th of Act 3rd, here Gloucester is captured and admits to helping Lear escape. Cornwall and Regan ridicule and torture Gloucester, gouging out his eyes and banishing him. So in this scene, the brutality goes on the heights by Goneril, Regan, Cornwall, and Edmund. Now Gloucester is captured and admits to helping Lear escape. Cornwall and Regan ridicule and torture Gloucester, gouging out his eyes and banishing him. Again, I repeat the same thing that Gloucester, who tries to help King Lear, is in capture of these four scoundrels. The Edmund is also the biggest scoundrel of the play, and Goneril, Regan, and Cornwall. And these four put out the eyes of Gloucester. You can imagine the way they are torturing Gloucester here. And the torture goes on the extreme into this scene, because it's quite not possible for a human being to do such an insane work against their own, their own known being. We cannot do, in fact, with the unknown being too, but they do all these things with their own one. Now, in the Act 4 scene first, here Gloucester is going to face the reality. What is the real scene? He is going to face that. So here Edgar sees his blinded father being led by an elderly man. Edgar agrees to take over leading his father, and although he does not reveal his identity. So here Edgar comes to know the way these four scoundrels behave with Gloucester and how they made him blind. So here Gloucester makes an agreement with that elderly man who carries Gloucester. So he makes an agreement that yes, of course, I can carry my father, and still he doesn't reveal his real identity. Edgar doesn't speak out to his father that yes, I'm your son, Edgar. So later on in the scene second of Act 4, we are moving towards more tragic incidents. In the scene second, Goneril confronts Albany. Albany, who is the husband of Goneril. So Goneril confronts Albany, who has become furious with her after learning about the cruel treatment of Lear. As I told you, Albany is good at heart. He plays the role of kindness into this play. So while he comes to know about his wife's treatment towards her own father, he becomes very furious. And when he further learns about the blinding of Gloucester and Cornwall's death, here Cornwall is also died, who is a scoundrel in this play. So he died here. And Albany resolves to take revenge upon Edmund and to assist Gloucester. So here he creates the feeling of kindness towards Lear and the Gloucester. Both were discarded by their own children. So here Albany is a kind of person who, again, leading towards a path to help out both these tragic heroes of the plot and the subplot. Now the scene third of Act 4, here Kent arrives in Dover, where he learns that Cordelia is in charge of the French army. So as I earlier mentioned, that Kent met with one of the knights of Lear, and he sent that knight to Cordelia for an helping hand, to get an helping hand to save or to defend King Lear. So here he comes to know that Cordelia is in charge of French army because she marries to King of France, and that Lear has arrived safely now. Although still mentally unwell, he goes on the state of madness, and Lear refuses to Cordelia because he is ashamed of the way he treated her. So now King Lear feels very ashamed even after being mad. He feels that shameness, that how I treated with my daughter, who is actually good one and who loves me rather than those two scoundrel daughters of mine. So, and the armies are on their way from both Regan and Goneril's castle to fight the French. So here on the one side there is the army of Cordelia, French army, and on the other side the army of the Goneril and Regans. So they both are in state of fight with each other just to defend King Lear. But later on, what happens we'll come to know in scene 4th of Act 4th. Now, in the scene 4th, Cordelia sends men into a cornfield to find her father, who has covered himself with weeds and flowers and is singing madly. A doctor tells her that Lear needs to sleep. So in scene fourth, Cordelia tries her best to find out her own father. He sends a man into the cornfield to find her father, who is in state of madness and who tries to cover himself, who tries to hide himself from Cordelia because he doesn't want to face Cordelia because of his treatment, the early treatment. So here what King Lear does is he hides behind the weeds and the flowers and he sings madly. And the doctor who treats King Lear, he asks Cordelia that Lear needs sleep so that he can come into his state back. So here in scene fourth, you can see the condition, the way the King Lear is going through. He is actually suffering. Mentally he is suffering and physically he is suffering. So from the both side, outside and inside, he is suffering from the state of this because of his misjudgment and misconduct and the mistreatment towards the daughter who is actually his true daughter. Next on in the scene fifth of act 4, we are leading ahead. In this scene of act 4, Regan wants to marry Edmund. As I told you while I described all about the characters, that Regan and Goneril, both the sisters, are in love with Edmund, the another villain of the play. So here, Regan wants to marry Edmund now that she is widow after the death of Cornwall, and Goneril, who is also trying to start an affair with Edmund, would be forced to commit adultery since she is still married to Albany. Regan enlists Oswald's help in trying to find and kill Gloucester. So here you can see both the sisters' state of treacherousness. So here Regan and Goneril both stand against each other in the field to marry Edmund. So here Regan is widow because Cornwall is earlier died, and Goneril is still married to Albany, but still she is all in a state to commit adultery without thinking about the circumstances. So they both walk into the same path to just get married, to get or to earn Edmund in any cost. Later on, here Regan enlists Oswald, the steward of Goneril's house, who is their helping hand. So Regan asks Oswald to find out Gloucester and to kill him anyhow to win the heart of Edmund. Later on, now in this scene of Act 4, scene 6, through a series of tricks, Edgar convinces his suicidal father that God does not want him to kill himself, and the two encounter in an insanely raving Lear. Oswald spots Gloucester and attempts to kill him, but Edgar kills Oswald and takes the secret letter he was carrying Edmund. So in this scene you could see that Gloucester, the father of Edgar and Edmund, in the state of shame, he tries to commit suicide because now he is blind and he thinks he is not any worthy move. So he tries to commit suicide, but Edgar goes there and he, with the many tricks, with putting many tricks, he convinces his own father that now God doesn't want you to kill yourself because you are brave enough. If you would kill yourself, then what you would answer to God. So, and the two both later on, the both of these two, Edgar and Gloucester, encounter an insanely raving Lear because now Lear is in a state of complete madness. So he does the things which are not acceptable by the people, and specifically these two by Edgar and Gloucester. So they both tried their best to just uh, stop King Lear by doing all these things. Later on, Oswald puts Gloucester and attempts to kill him as Goneril asks Oswald to find Gloucester and kills him. So here Oswald's calm and he tries to kill Gloucester, but there on the spot Edgar comes and he saves the life of his father. And Edgar here kills Oswald and takes the secret letter, which is being carried to Edmund, and which is given by Goneril herself. Sorry. Later on, in the scene 7th of the Act 4, Lear and Cordelia are reunited. So here the scene of reconciliation arrives. So both Lear and Cordelia reunited again, and although he is too mad to fully understand the situation, the British forces draw near and battle is imminent. So here, as you could see, both the armies in front of together, so they are in situation to fight, but here Lear isn't in state to understand the circumstances, that what are the circumstances. Basically the circumstances is going toward being trodden. So here Lear, and here the scene of reconciliation between Lear and Cordelia, and on the other side the scene of battle between the British army and the French army. Now later on we will look over the scene that who will win and who will lose, and what will happen to Cordelia, Lear, and the rest tragic heroes of the play. Now, in the Act 5th, the last act of the play, in the scene first, Goneril and Regan spar over their mutual interest in Edmund, while Edmund plans to see how the battle goes before he decides which of them he should marry. Meanwhile, Edgar passes along the secret letter to Albany, who now knows that Goneril wants Edmund to kill Albany. So here in this scene you could see that Goneril and Regan, both the sisters, are standing against each other, in front of each other, and they are in state of sparring for the mutual interest, because they are having a mutual interest in Edmund. They both want to own Edmund, while Edmund on the other hand, he firstly wants to see the scene of the battle, that who is losing and who is winning. Then he'll only decide that to whom he is going to get married. Later on into this perfect scene, Edgar passes along the secret letter to Albany. Albany, Goneril's husband, of course. So Edgar, who caught the letter from Oswald's pocket, and he puts the letter to Albany's hand, and here the letter is all about Goneril, who wants Edmund to kill Albany so that she is able to marry Edmund later. So in this scene, the Goneril and Regan come into the state of complete treachery, which is not acceptable by any women, or by anyone, any men or women, in fact. So here they cross their limits into this scene, and later on, now Albany came to know that yes, Goneril wants to marry Edmund, and he wants Edmund to kill him. Later on, let's see what this Albany will do to Goneril. Now, in the scene 2nd of Act 5th, the battle occurs, and the Edgar reports back to Gloucester that Cordelia's army has lost, and Cordelia and Lear have been captured. So in this scene there is a tragic moment come, and the play is going towards climax. So the Cordelia's army lose the battle, and Edmund's army won the battle. Actually here I'm a bit frustrated with this scene, because where I come to know that the people who are in heart villain, and who are not good at heart, who have treachery in their blood, won the battle, and the people who are good at heart and who can do best into society, they lose here. So the thing is little sorry, here I'm stumbling over the words, in fact, with the bit frustration. So here we can see that Edmund's army, the evil is won actually. The evil is won and the good lose. Later on, Cordelia and Lear both have captured by the army of Edmund, and here Edgar reports all these to Gloucester. Later on, in this last scene of the play, what will happen is Regan and Goneril spar over Edmund again, and but Edgar arrives to reveal his brother's duplicity and challenge him to duel. Edmund, Goneril, Regan, Gloucester, Cordelia, Lear, all are died. So in this scene, we can say that Goneril and Regan both fight for the Edmund, and they both poison to each other. They both died. And later on, Edgar arrives into the scene and he reveals everything to his father. And he calls Edmund for the duel where he kills Edmund. And later on, Edmund died. Goneril and Regan, both the sisters died. Gloucester's died, and Cordelia died, and Lear also died. So these all characters who are good at heart and who are bad at heart, they all are died into the scene. And at the end of the play, only Albany, Goneril's husband, Edgar, the legitimate son of Gloucester, and the elderly Kent are left to take care of the country under a cloud of sorrow and regret. So this is all about our King Lear, the biggest drama of the scene of the era by William Shakespeare, about whom we have just taught, about whom I have taught everything until now, about the characters, about a bit introduction of William Shakespeare, about the acts of the drama or the summary of the drama. If you have any kind of problem or any kind of query, if you people want to ask me something, then you can comment me below. I will definitely answer you all. So okay, now after knowing all about the drama, it's necessary to perceive the news theme here, which is very important, as I have mentioned now. So themes are the accessories, the very accessories of the drama, which ornament drama's very emotions and which elaborate drama in very aesthetic way. So here I'm going towards the themes of the play. So the first theme is justice. Justice. King Lear is a brutal play filled with human cruelty and awful, seemingly meaningless disasters. The play's succession of terrible events raises an obvious question for the characters, namely whether there is any possibility of justice in the world, or whether the world is fundamentally indifferent or even hostile to humankind. So here the question of justice we can put into this play, because if there is justice, then the justice will be done or may be done into this play, but there is lack of justiceness into this play, because at the end of the play, the main characters or the good at heart characters, whoever those are, Cordelia, King Lear, or and then other one is Gloucester, these all are died at the end of the play. And yes, of course, if we can see towards the justiceness, then of course there are the character like Albany and Edgar and the Kent. These three left and the rest one are died. So on a one point, we can say on the one side of the glass there is justiceness, which is seen through these characters who are alive and in whose hands the power is. And on the other hand, while we see towards Cordelia, Lear, and the rest one, Gloucester, then we come to know that a little tension we get, that yes, there is a lack of justice here, and maybe the world is suffering from the same, because justice is not done completely to the characters. So here King Lear is a brutal play, of course, where the tragedies happen back by back, and this play is filled with the human cruelty and awful, seemingly meaningless disasters. Disasters happen to the character as King Lear, who trusted his two daughters, who flattered with him earlier. He trusted them and he gave them the power. They discarded him badly. They brutalized him badly. And later on, while we seeing towards the Edmund who brutalized his own father, Gloucester, and he tricked to put his own father into the well, and he tried his brother to get all the possessions which was about to go to Edgar. So to just in need of getting all the greeds or all the possessions or all the ornaments or decorums of life, these characters like Goneril, Regan, Edmund, these all played their best to just got everything. They played their tricks bad. Okay then. So sorry for the misconception here. The screen is off. Okay then. Later on, I'm moving ahead towards the next theme, which is authority versus chaos. Authority versus chaos is here. So, King Lear is about political authority as much as it is about family dynamics. Lear is not only a father but also a king. And when he gives away his authority to unworthy and evil Goneril and Regan, he delivers not only himself and his family but all of his Britain into chaos and cruelty. So, here authority versus chaos is here. As a father, he gave the authority to Regan and Goneril just on the basis, on the condition that how much these both daughters love him. On the basis of this thing, on the basis of affection, he gave up his authority in the hands of evils, and he put entire country into chaos. So here what we get is, through this theme, what we get that for the sake of family only, one shouldn't, the one who has power in his hands shouldn't give away just because of few aspected reasons which is related to his heart or to his personal things. So here the authority versus chaos is a very important theme into this play. Later on, the next theme is reconciliation, which is all about the reunion of Cordelia and Lear, the Edmund and Gloucester. So reconciliation is also here. Reconciliation. Darkness and unhappiness pervade King Lear, and the devastating Act Fifth represent one of the most tragic ending in all of literature. Nevertheless, the play presents the central relationship that between Lear and Cordelia as a dramatic embodiment of true self-sacrificing love, rather than despising Lear for banishing her. Cordelia remains devoted even after afar and eventually brings an army from a foreign country to rescue him from his tormentors. So here we can see how good-hearted or how kind-hearted Cordelia is, even after banishing by her own father, and even after brutalizing by her own father. After banishing, she comes back and saves her father. Tries to save her father, though she herself dies in the hands of destiny. So this is all about reconciliation of the play. Later on, the theme of nihilism is also there. The nihilism means that everything is null and void and everything is meaningless into this world. So King Lear presents a bleak vision of the world without meaning. Lear begins the value sorry Lear begins the play valuing justice, the social order, and the value of kingship, but his values are undermined by his experiences. Lear ends up believing that justice, order, and kingship are just flattering names for raw, brutal power. So here, King Lear justifies this way that, yes, in the end of the play, he believes that the play believing that justice, order, and the kingship are just flattering names of raw, brutal power, because whoever have the power, he is on the state to brutalize the people who are around him. Next on, we are moving towards the next theme, which is self-knowledge. King Lear shows that a lack of self-knowledge can cause chaos and tragedy, but the play also suggests that self knowledge is painful and perhaps not worthy the effort it takes to achieve it. Lear's tragic flaw is a lack of self knowledge. So, self knowledge, the self indulgement or the self understanding, is quite very painful but very important for a human being. And here the self knowledge is the only thing which is the cause of the all the tragic flow into this play. Next theme is the unreliability of speech. King Lear suggests that people's speeches and words are not always reliable and trustworthy. The tragic events of King Lear are set in motion because Lear believes the loving speeches Goneril and Regan make. The theme also presents the difference between appearance and reality. So, unreliability of speech is all about Edmund's speech and Goneril and Regan's speech into this play, because both of these character all are these characters are on the state of unreliability. Their speeches are not trustworthy. Because of their unreliable speeches, the main character or the heroes of the plot and the subplot misjudge their children, and they trust the untrustworthy. Later on, it consists also the theme of appearance and reality. As I mentioned in the words before, that whatever appear into this play is not real, and whatever is reality is not revealed earlier. In the first scene, while we see towards Goneril and Regan's speeches, whatever they appear into the scene first of act first, they are not that. They are not the way they represent themselves. And Cordelia, on the other side, she is not the same in the way King Lear sees her. So here, the reality and the appearance both are different. Now we are looking towards Kant. Kant is outspoken and blunt in each way. He is the way he is representing himself into the from the very first till the end by serving King Lear. But King Lear doesn't want to accept the way he speaks outspokenly, bluntly, extrovertly. So this is all about the appearance and reality into King Lear. Later on in 2016, there is a question that comment on the theme of appearance and reality in King Lear. So these are the basic themes which can be covered in the exam paper. And regarding the theme, if you have any problem or any query, then you can comment me, as I already told you, and at many times I've asked you to comment me regarding any problem, so that I can sort out whatever you have, and I can also avail you, again I'm repeating, I can also avail you the materials, in-depth details of all the notes, if you want me to send you through email or through other site. So thank you so much for watching my video. For further video, do subscribe, press the bell icon to get the more notification, and like the video if you think this is worthy enough for you all.